And that line we've just marked, the 85mm, is going to sit on the edge of the former. So like that. Pop guide back in. So it's on the edge there. I'm just going to line this up now with my eye. Bend that round and you should get a perfect 180 when it sits back. What's up guys, thanks for tuning into my latest video. Slightly different one than you're used to. So recently I took on a role with Lawton Tubes as an ambassador for using copper pipe in the industry, and also I've reached a milestone on my Instagram page where I'm on my 1000th post. So to celebrate that and tie it in together, I made this, which is obviously, well, I hope it's obvious, it's a 1000 made out of copper. So I made a video on how I made this. I think probably the most interesting thing is the zeros, how I made those, but I did a video of me cutting it out, bending it, soldering it, all in one video. It's all made from Lawton Tube, copper tube. They sent me some of their fittings to try and also their flux to use, which I've not used before. So I've done all that with Lawton flux, fittings and tube. So that's what this video is, basically me making that from start to finish, and I hope you enjoy it. Right, so this is my design. I was going to make the 1000, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 180s joined together with T's and small bits of copper, and then the last one a T onto a T, and then we'll bend a frame around the whole thing. That's the idea. So I've got my soldering bag, I've got my pipe bender, and then because the video is sponsored by Lawton Tubes, I'm going to be either using their end feed fittings or their Yorkshire fittings. I don't normally use these, but they sent me some to try. And then more importantly, I'm going to be trying out their soldering flux, which I didn't know they made until recently, so we'll see how we get on. Okay, so I've got my plan. I've got a couple of lengths of Lawton Tube. I've got my pipe bender and my guide, tape measure and a pen. The first thing I'm going to do is make the zeros, because I think that's going to be the hardest bit. So we're going to need 6 of these. Now the way to make these, perfect 180 on a scissor bender. So we're going to start off, piece of tube, and that's 280-ish I'm cutting that up. And I'm going to set that up in my bender. It's probably the wrong way to do this, but as close to the end of that hook as possible. I'm going to bend a 90 on this piece of copper. Which is about that. Now I'm going to take that out. So that's my 90. And I'm going to measure 85mm from where the pipe, when it comes out the bender, you can see there's like a curve, and then it goes back to being a straight piece of 15mm pipe. So from there, where it becomes straight again, I'm going to measure 85mm. Which is just there. Just go all the way around. And then back in the bender. And that line we've just marked, the 85mm, is going to sit on the edge of the former. So like that. Pop guide back in. So it's on the edge there. I'm just going to line this up now with my eye. And then I'm going to bend that round. Can you see this? Let me just check. Just drop it down a bit. Bend that round. And you should get a perfect 180 when it sits back in like that. Okay, so give it a little bit of a tweak, but that is basically that. Bring that close to the camera. So that's basically that, and then this one just needs cutting so that they match up. The way I'm going to do that, just for now, just because when we put the T's on, these might shorten down. So that's minimal wastage at the minute. What I might do is, before we move on, I'll set the T's up and I'll see how it looks, because if we can get away with wasting less, obviously we're going to cut these again. We'll do that before we do the next step. So I'm just going to quickly clean this up. So I reckon for a 0, can you see that? So I reckon for a 0, let's bang a couple of T's in. We'll try the end feed and the Yorkshire. I reckon that's slightly too, is it? Actually, that looks all right, I think, for a 0. I mean, we can shorten it quite a bit, but is that gonna, let's just see what it looks like if we shorten it. So we can afford to take off half of that. So I think we said there's about 45mm of pipe there. I don't know, just doubting myself now. Does it look better like that? Shorten it to say halfway. Yeah, tell you what, we'll take 10mm off each. Okay, let's try this again. Just needs a little bit of squeezing to get it together. Yeah, I think that looks better. So that's the size we're going for. And then let's just look at it with the solder rings on. I think I prefer the end feed, I'm not going to lie. Not bad, but I think I prefer these, so we'll use these. So what I need to do now is make 4 more of these. I'll cut them all, I'll make sure I cut them all the same because that's slightly out. So yeah, that's my next job, and then when I've done that, I'll come back on the video. So there's the first job I just did in that video. I've just done 6 more because I'm going to do them all the same for another video I'm doing for an Instagram reel and a TikTok. So same principle though, exactly the same as I made these. I'm just doing 6 in a row, but there they all are together. So now I'm going to mark these all up the same, 85mm, and do the second bend. Okay, so that's all my measurements marked. 85mm from here. See, they all stagger because they've got 15mm pipe, so they're all 15mm apart. So now I'm going to bend these to make my 180s. Right, so that's my 6. These are all identical 180s now. And then I'm just going to measure and cut so they're all the same. And then we'll start putting them together with the T's. Then we'll think about the 1. And then once we've done that, we'll think about the frame. And then obviously soldering it. Right, so that's them all cut to where I want them to be, all identical. And that's going to make up my zeros. So now we'll get the T's out and put them together. 3, 4, 6 for now. Just join these together. So that's what my zeros are going to look like. There's 1, 3. Okay, so now my next decision is how far to space them. I reckon that looks about right though. So that is 40mm. So I need to cut 3 bits at 40mm off this. Okay, I think that looks pretty cool. So now we've got the 000, we need to work out the distance for the 1. I have got a cross T, so we can get that out of the van. And then once we've set that up, we can then measure and bend the frame. Right, so this mythical thing is a 4-way T. So that's going to go there, 40mm, I guess. Put our 1 there. And then from that will come 40mm out, that will come 40mm out. Put the T's on the end, and then we'll measure the distance, and then we'll pull our 90s. So I'll set the camera back up on the tripod. Let's move that there. So 40mm, another piece off this. 40mm. Okay, so if I get, what I want to do is put that on there and that on there. Wedge that with the bender so it don't roll. So I reckon like that. So we want, what's that, 90 to the end, with a stop end on it. Balance them on. So that measures. Yeah, we'll do those two pieces at 90. I'll take 1 off the end of this. Right, how do we think that looks for 1,000? I think that looks, I didn't know whether that needed to come this way further, but I think that looks all right. So we'll go with that. So that's our 1,000. Now we've got to, I'm just going to work out, I'll get a 90 and see how it looks, because it might need to be more than 40mm there to our next T. So off one of those 2 halves that I cut, I've just bent a 90, and I've bent it slightly bigger than I want it, so I can work out the distance. Obviously we could go all the way up to there, which is too much. But I think somewhere like that maybe. So maybe that is 40mm. Let me just get a T and try it. Yeah, with the T there, that works out 40mm. That's 40mm between this pipe and this edge and this edge, and the top of the 0 in there. So I think we'll do that. I think that'll look good. So I'm going to cut this one, mark that one up, and then measure this one. So I'll do another 2 pieces of 40mm for here and bang the T's in and measure off them. Right, so that's that one in and cut. So we've got 40mm between there and there, 40mm to the top of the zeros. This wants to come in touch there. So now I need to measure my mark on here, my center line for that, and pull this 90. Okay, so that's my 90 bent on there. Now I just need to measure that again. Make sure we got 40mm there, there, and there. Keep touching it. 40. 40. This is going to be tricky to do one hand. Anyway, you get the gist. So I'm just going to make sure these are all 40, and then I'm going to mark this and cut this. Then we'll make the bottom. Okay, so that's that one in. That looks pretty cool to me. So now I've just got the final bending to do, and then we'll get on to the difficult bit, which will be the soldering. So that's that one in. Again, 40mm, 40mm, and then I've marked the center for that bend. So it's just that bend left to do. All right, I'm really pleased with that. So now I'm going to take it all to bits, clean it all up, and then we'll get the we'll get the soldering going. Right, so that's done. I think it looks really good. So I'm going to take it all apart now and just clean all the different pieces, and then we will look at soldering it, which I'm not looking forward to, but there we go. Something's worth doing. And then yeah, we'll be good to go. No brasso, that's something you do not need in my opinion. Just fine grade steel wool and you can clean it up nicely. And don't take very long either. I mean, this is new copper, but that's pretty much that piece done. Right, so soldering, I'm going to use this. So this is my pipe vise, and originally these were only available in America and they were really heavy cast iron, but this is an aluminium one, so it's proper lightweight, and you can actually buy these in the UK from a company called Lavender. I think it's heating supplies, plumbing supplies. They're in London, but they will ship it out to you if you want one. And it's just going to enable me to hold my copper pipe in place while I solder. So I'm going to be using that, and then like I said at the start of the video, we're going to be trying out the Lawton Flux. Use some this Lawton lead-free solder wire, and yeah, I guess it's just a case of planning. This one you get a little brush in the lid. I've not used it yet, you can see it's brand new, so we'll see how we get on with it. Looks a bit like Laco, but I've been informed it's nothing like Laco. So what we're going to work out, what I might do is start with one of the zeros. So get that make that looking right as possible. Solder the T's on, maybe with the maybe with those looking out. Make sure that's square, then move on to the next one. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Obviously I've cleaned everything, so I've not got to do any more cleaning. So just get a bit of that flux on, not too much because I don't want it to run down. I want my soldering to be quite clean. I'm not reaming out the pipe because I'm not using this on a job. It's not going to have any water running through it. Obviously if we were at work and we were using these pipes, we'd ream out the copper. So let me get my rag. My flux I normally use before this Lawton stuff is in this one with the brush in the lid. What I'm going to do is transfer some, if I like this Lawton stuff, I'll transfer it into here, and then that'll be in my bag rather than keep the extra pot. So get one of these done. That's looking straight. Right, I'm just going to take this out, have a look at it, make sure it's in, make sure it's straight. But I'm happy to solder it at that, which I think I am. Just going to wipe off any excess. It's really important you wipe off excess flux, because when you solder it, it runs down and follows the path of the flux. So I've hardly got any on to begin with. Anything that's on there I'm just getting off with this dry cloth. Right, there we go, wish me luck. Right, that's one done. Let that cool down, then I'll take it out and we'll get the next one. I think the next 0 done like that. And then I guess the 1 and then the frame. Okay, so let's quickly solder this up. Right, so that's my 1000. Half, just give it a quick wipe down with some steel wool. And now I'm going to attempt to put the frame on. So let's just quickly put these T's on. And there. And there. And then bottom one. I suppose it matters, they should be exactly the same. Right, I reckon I'm happy with that. I'm going to go for that. So how am I going to solder this best way? If I maybe put it on the middle of that thing again. Maybe we could just balance it on there. Like that. So I ran out of steel wool. I was just using the bit I had left in my box, just been B&Q. This is the stuff I get. Fine grade steel wool, and that's all you need. You'll see if you look at the condition of that at the minute, and then we will get some of this fine grade on. Okay, so if I just show you, this section here is quite dull, and I'll just quickly, you can't even see it now, it's so reflective. Can you tell the difference straight away? There you go. Look how clean that, just a quick rub with the extra fine. Do it again just here. So I'm going to clean this all up now with the fine grade, and then we're almost done. Right, that's the clean-up done with the steel wool. See how shiny that is now. Right. And that's it, the finished Copper 1000. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make this. Thank you to Lawton for sponsoring the video. It's obviously Lawton tube I've used off my van, but they gave me the fittings to try and some of their soldering flux, which smells amazing and has done a good job with the soldering, so I'll definitely be using that. Thanks for watching, and check out the rest of my videos if you enjoyed this one. Cheers guys. I'll give you a bit of a soldering bag tour as well. So we've got a nice big pouch at the front here with my burn mats in, so that's full length along the front. And then we've got, so you can put your gas bottle in there, and that's got my flux. You can obviously swap them around to the same size. There's a pocket there for a fire extinguisher. If you've not got a fire extinguisher and you're doing hot works, you're not insured, so make sure you've got a fire extinguisher somewhere near you. Spin that round. Got the pipe slice dock on the top of the bag, one for each size pipe slice there. See that? So when you've used them, you just drop them back on, and they should hold in place. Vertical tool storage. I mean, you don't really need many tools when you're soldering, but I've got a pair of grips there, my square. Wet rag tub, so my wet rag's in there with a bit of water to keep it damp. There's room in there for my Milwaukee pipe cutter. Got my pipe vise on there, and then just pockets. I've got my pipe cleaners, the ones that attach in the drill. Just clip onto these little D-ring holders there. In this end I've got my swaging tools, pipe guides, and then there's a tub. So in my tub I've got pipe reamer, solder wire, my spin swage tool bits. I've got a little trial tub of this, well not trial tub, but the little flux that Lawton gave me in there. Got my Loctite, and then spare bits of copper that I use all the time. And there's more pockets, tape holder, got my tube cutter in there. Yeah, that's my soldering bag.